So it's 9 weeks now until my next ultramarathon, the Chiltern Wonderland 50. So the question I'm going to answer in this video is, how am I going to prepare for this race? So this will be my third ultramarathon at this distance. I did the South Downs Way 50 back in April, and I've just finished recovering from the Serpent Trail 100k. I've just had a super relaxing 10 days in Sweden, just reading my book, being by the sea, going for swims. It's been very, very nice. But now it's time to get back into training. I've got about 7 weeks of training, and then I'll have about a 2-week taper going into the Chiltern Wonderland 50. So a bit about the course and the race. So Chiltern Wonderland 50 miles, obviously 80 kilometers. It's in the Chiltern countryside, so just north of Reading, and it's supposed to be absolutely stunning, like really picturesque, going through little villages, and it's this big loop that goes around the Chiltern countryside. So yeah, it's supposed to be a really, really nice route. The Centurion website indicates that it's about the same elevation as the South Downs Way 50. I need to get prepared for some fairly significant hills. In terms of the weather, this race is going to be in September, so it's probably going to be a little bit warmer than when I did the South Downs Way 50. So yeah, hoping that it's going to be out 14-15 degrees, so it should be pretty perfect running weather. So my training plan for this race, I'll put it up on the screen so you can see it. It's going to be very similar to the South Downs Way 50 training plan, although I'm probably going to shift more towards just single long runs rather than back-to-back long runs. And similar to my training for the Serpent Trail 100k, as I start ramping up those long runs, I'm going to try and reduce my weekly volume just to compensate for that higher volume. One of the big things that I want to change is I want to start bringing in more hill work. I want to be more prepared for the hills than I was for the South Downs Way 50 in April. That'll either be hill sprints or just sessions where I'm trying to get as much elevation in a short amount of time. My peak long run for this is probably going to be somewhere between 40 and 50k. Quite a few people have told me recently that you don't actually need to go much beyond that when you're training for ultramarathons, so even people doing 100-mile distances often won't run longer than 50 kilometers in their training runs. So super interesting. Apparently your body physically doesn't need that extra distance, but for me personally, I've always done it so like mentally that I know that I can run that distance, or at least nearly run the race distance, but physically apparently you don't need it. So it'll be interesting to see if I do some longer races and keep my long runs shorter, how that impacts my race. I'm probably going to aim for a peak training week of around 110, 120 kilometers. I'll kind of play it by feel based on how my body's feeling, but I felt that was a hard but comfortable distance. So there's a couple of things that I want to improve on in addition to the training that I was fairly relaxed about in the last training block. So the first one is I want to do something to address cramp, because it's something that's come up in every ultra I've done. So I want to have a look at doing some more strength work. So I'm going to aim for 2 to 3 strength sessions per week as part of this training block. And then try and continue it beyond that, and hopefully I can add a bit more strength into my legs, and that will help reduce the likelihood or the severity of the cramp that I'm getting during these longer races. The second thing I want to sort out is my diet. I kind of knew from the last training block I wasn't going to take my diet super seriously. By the end of the training block, it was just eating whatever I wanted. I was eating lots of junk food and overeating. So there's 2 things I'm trying to get out of dieting. I'm going to try and reduce my body fat, and I'm also going to try and build more muscles, particularly in my legs. So how am I going to do that? I'm going to try and shift my diet away from processed food, so try and eat as much natural ingredients as possible. I'm also going to try and shift my diet away from being very carb heavy towards a bit more protein and fat. I'm not going to do something super extreme, but I'm just going to try and shift the balance of my diet slightly. I'm also going to try and significantly reduce the amount of junk food I'm eating, so maybe have a cheat day once every week, once every 2 weeks. And on those cheat days, I'm going to try and limit how much I'm eating, just to kind of constrain those excess calories that I have a habit of eating, especially when I've had like a hard training session or I'm a bit tired and exhausted. And then for me, when it comes to diets and trying to be a bit more healthy, I can't just make a decision and do it. I need to be able to track it and actively see how I'm progressing and measure myself. So it's not the best thing in the world, but for me it works quite well. I'll probably track my calories as much as I can, and I will try and weigh myself maybe once a week, just to kind of make sure that I'm moving in the right direction. So there's a couple of other things I'm going to try and experiment with. One, I'm going to try and do a bit of cross training as part of this training block. I'm probably going to invest in a bike in the next few weeks. Just like a cheap road bike so I can get around the city, but I'd like to, maybe try and build that in as part of my training. I also might try and go to the local swimming pool and just maybe do like one swimming session a week where I'm just going out for like an hour swim or something, just to build some alternative activities to see how it impacts my fitness. But yeah, we'll see how I get on with that. So in addition, I'm going to join the local running club. One, I just think I'd really appreciate doing speed sessions with other people, with a group. I think I'll just push myself harder and make it a lot more enjoyable. But yeah, also just kind of from a social aspect, move to a new city, it'd be nice to get to know some of the local runners, and also potentially get some access to some coaching. I've never had any coaching with my running. It's all been self-taught. Most of it's been from YouTube, just watching other people. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how coaching differs from somebody who's like a qualified coach in person, etc. That's the plan. Not long for this training block. I mean, 7 weeks of training is not much, but I'm hoping that some of my residual fitness from the last 2 training blocks carries through. I always find after a race, when I've had a proper week off to recover, my fitness takes a massive hit. And it takes like a few weeks to just ease back into it and get back to where I was. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how quickly I rebound. My running from the last few days has felt sluggish. I've probably done maybe 10 days worth of training now since the Serpent Trail. So yeah, it'll be interesting to see how my fitness rebounds this time. Cool. Well, yeah, this is the plan for the next 9 weeks. I'm going to document it again. And do some update videos on where I am sort of in terms of my fitness and my training. But yeah, looking forward to this one. I think the race day will be really beautiful. Cool. Well, just a quick update video, this one, and I'll see you in the next one. Cheers for watching. Thanks. Bye.